You walk over a treasure every day, but you have been taught to ignore it. In a world dominated by instant gratification and solutions in plastic bottles, we have broken the oldest bond we have, our connection to the earth. It was not always this way. There was a time not so long ago when knowing about plants was not a curious hobby or something alternative. It was simply the difference between life and death. It was the wisdom that kept families healthy and communities strong. Today we feel vulnerable, almost orphaned, if we do not have a pharmacy around the corner. However, the true medicine, the original, the one that does not expire or respond to patents, is out there, patiently waiting beneath your feet. These 20 plants we are going to discover are not just simple home remedies. They are biological alliances that our species has perfected over 10,000 years. Get ready, because today we are going to stop being dependent patients and return to being knowledgeable about the earth. Welcome to the recovery of your autonomy. 1. Plantain, Plantago major, the sentinel of the paths. Plantain is the living testimony of resistance against indifference. It is the perfect example of how human arrogance labels as weeds what it cannot comprehend. This plant does not seek the fertile and pampered soils of the garden. It thrives in cracks at the edges of forgotten paths, where the soil has been compacted by the incessant passage of centuries and battered by erosion. But in that hardness lies its message. Plantain is a medicine of proximity, designed to be where man needs it most. Its chemical architecture is a masterpiece of multifunctionality. The heart of its power lies in aucubin, an iridoid glycoside that acts as an antimicrobial agent with astonishing spectrum. When you apply a poultice of plantain to a wound, you are not simply covering an injury, you are orchestrating a complex biological response. Its tannins act as astringents that force the contraction of capillaries, stopping microbleeding in seconds. However, plantain possesses a fascinating duality. While its tannins contract, its mucilage expands a protective and refreshing layer that soothes inflammation and sharp pain. It is, in essence, the intelligent bandage that nature designed for travelers. In ancient times, the Saxons considered it one of the 9 sacred herbs capable of absorbing the poison of the earth. If you are bitten by an insect, if you accidentally brush against a nettle, or if the sun has burned your skin, plantain is the forgiveness that the earth offers you immediately, restoring the integrity of your physical barrier. 2. Yarrow, Achillea millefolium, the warrior's shield. Named in honor of the mythical Achilles, yarrow is the plant of blood and steel. Its very structure is a visual paradox. On one side, white flowers that look like delicate lace. On the other, leaves that divide into 1,000 segments, resembling bird feathers that seem to float. But behind that fragility lies an internal chemistry of fierce and determined power. It contains alkaloids, specifically achillin, which has the almost mystical ability to stop external bleeding upon contact, but internally can stimulate circulation where it has stagnated. Historically, it was known in medieval chronicles as herba militaris. In the heat of battle, where time is measured in pulses, yarrow was the final resource to prevent a soldier from bleeding to death before reaching camp. But its mastery is not limited to coagulation. Yarrow is a first-rate diaphoretic plant. It holds the thermal key to the human body. It has the power to open the pores in times of crisis, allowing the body to expel the toxic heat of a persistent fever through sweat. It is in many ways thermal balance-made plant. It cools what burns and warms what has cooled due to lack of flow. Using yarrow is invoking an ancestral protection that understands that health is not a static state, but a constant flow that sometimes needs to be stopped and at other times urgently released. 3. Comfrey, Symphytum officinale, the bone weaver. Comfrey is undoubtedly the most imposing plant in the realm of cellular regeneration. Its scientific name, symphytum, comes from the Greek word for to unite, and it is no metaphor. Its best-kept secret is allantoin, a substance that not only cleanses damaged tissue but also actively stimulates mitosis, that is, the proliferation of new cells. In deep antiquity, before radiology, it was called suelda consuelda, due to the belief that its roots could fuse broken bones. While modern science warns us that it does not replace the mechanical alignment of a cast, its ability to penetrate deep tissues and reduce inflammation of periosteum, ligaments, and tendons is simply unattainable for any synthetic laboratory ointment. It is a plant that demands to be treated with almost religious respect. Its vital force is so overflowing that it can close the outer layer of the skin before the deep tissue has finished healing. Therefore, its use requires the wisdom of time and patience. It is the embodiment of the regenerative force of the earth concentrated in a dark, fleshy, and deep root that sinks into the subsoil to extract minerals that no other plant can reach. Comfrey does not heal. It teaches cells to rebuild at a speed that challenges our conventional understanding of biological time. Or white willow, Salix alba, the ancestor of relief. Long before the chemist Felix Hoffmann synthesized acetylsalicylic acid to relieve his father's pain, humanity had already found relief in the murmur of willows. The white willow grows by fate near watercurrents, and in that location lies its signature. It is the medicine for what has stagnated and hurts. It is a plant that teaches the body to flow again. Its bark contains salicin, a molecule that, when ingested, undergoes an alchemical conversion process in our own liver, transforming into salicylic acid. The advantage of willow over modern aspirin is a matter of harmony. While the synthetic pill hits the stomach with an immediate and acidic release, the salicin from willow is processed slowly, rhythmically, and steadily. This provides a much more sustained and profound pain relief, avoiding the corrosive effect on the gastric mucosa thanks to the presence of accompanying polyphenols. It is the ancestral remedy for the individuals suffering from chronic inflammation, for those who feel that their joints have become stiff and creaky like dry wood under the sun. The willow not only extinguishes pain, it restores elasticity to the body and fluidity to the blood, allowing movement to return where there was once only resistance. 5. Wormwood, Artemisia vulgaris. The key to the digestive system named under the patronage of the lunar goddess Artemis, this plant is a bastion of protection, especially focused on the center of our body, the digestive system and the hormonal axis. Wormwood is bitter, with a bitterness that shakes the senses, and it is precisely in that flavor where its healing capacity resides. The bitter principles of wormwood are not an aggression, but a chemical signal that forces the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder to wake up from their lethargy. In our contemporary society, where we consume processed foods and sugars that dull our enzymatic capacity, wormwood acts as the electric shock that the metabolic system needs to regain its efficiency. But its reach goes beyond the physical. Valued for millennia in various cultures, from the Druids to the doctors of ancient China, wormwood is known for clarifying the mind and enhancing the dream world. It is the medicine for states of heaviness, both physical and mental, for those moments when we feel that life has become dense and hard to process. By ingesting it, we are not only facilitating the digestion of food, but also the digestion of our experiences, allowing the heavy to transmute and the vision to become clear again. Dandelion, Taraxacum officinale, the great cleanser. What the contemporary suburban gardener sees as a persistent pest that dirties the uniformity of his lawn, the conscious herbalist recognizes as liquid gold for the organism. The dandelion is possibly the most efficient and generous cleaning laboratory that nature has designed. Its name, Taraxacum, derives from the Greek word for disturbance and remedy, a direct clue to its ability to organize internal chaos. Its medicine is total, while its root sinks into the depths of hepatic metabolism to filter fats and stimulate bile. Its leaves act as precision filters for the renal system. This is where the dandelion challenges synthetic pharmacology. Most chemical diuretics force the body to eliminate fluids, but in the process, they dangerously deplete our potassium reserves, causing fatigue and electrolyte imbalances. The dandelion, in an act of perfect biological balance, is one of the most massive plant sources of potassium that exist. Thus, while it induces cleansing, it instantly replenishes what the body needs. It is the quintessential medicine of spring, the mechanism that the earth gives us to sweep away the toxins and stagnation accumulated during winter. Ignoring its yellow flower is to ignore the simplest and most powerful opportunity to reset metabolism and restore transparency to our blood. Passion flower, Passiflora incarnata, the sedative of consciousness. In the deafening noise of modern life, where the nervous system lives in a constant state of war alert, passion flower emerges as an architecture of peace. We should not confuse it with a heavy sedative or a narcotic that simply disconnects us. Passion flower is, in fact, a fine regulator of consciousness. Its chemical interaction focuses on the GABA receptors in the brain, acting as a modulator that softens peaks of adrenaline and cortisol without clouding mental sharpness. It is the specific plant for the ailment of our era, the insomnia of a noisy mind. That state where, upon turning off the light, thoughts begin to spin in an endless loop of worries and imaginary dialogues. Passion flower stops that carousel. Its flower, with a complex and fascinating geometry that the ancients associated with symbols of passion, seems to be a visual map of the order it seeks to restore in our psyche. By consuming it, we are not forcing sleep, we are lowering the volume of anxiety until the natural silence of the mind allows us to rest. It is the medicine to regain sovereignty over our own thoughts. Hawthorn, Crataegus, the guardian of the heart. Hawthorn is the medicine of the heart in its entirety, both in the physical pump that drives life and in the emotional center where we keep our affections. At a physiological level, hawthorn is an unparalleled cardiovascular tonic. It does not force the heart to work harder, but helps it work better. It contains bioflavonoids that dilate the coronary arteries, allowing the heart muscle to receive a much richer flow of oxygen while rhythmically regulating blood pressure. But popular wisdom does not call it the guardian just for its chemical effects. The ancients used it to treat broken hearts and deep sorrows. There is a lesson in its physiology. It is a plant that establishes clear boundaries with its sharp thorns, but that protects within it a delicate flower and a nutritious fruit. Hawthorn teaches the human heart to strengthen its borders without turning to stone. It is a long-lasting tonic, a medicine that builds over time and, unlike pressure drugs, strengthens the center of our chest without creating dependencies or cumulative side effects. It is strength made of wood and flower. Nettle, Urtica dioica, the multivitamin of the earth. Nettle is the plant of brutal honesty. It stings you not out of malice, but out of an evolutionary need to protect the nutritional treasure it holds in its tissues. If it did not have those stinging hairs, it would have been devoured to extinction by every herbivore on the planet because it is, gram for gram, one of the most densely nutritious substances in the biosphere. It is a living mine of iron, calcium, magnesium, and vitamins A and K processed in a way that the human body recognizes and absorbs with 100% efficiency. Drinking an infusion of fresh or dried nettle is the closest thing to receiving a direct transfusion of chlorophyll and solar minerals. It is the ultimate cure for anemia, for the chronic fatigue of those who feel that their battery no longer charges, and for seasonal allergies that collapse the immune system. Nettle not only nourishes, it challenges the organism. Its sting and internal chemistry force the immune system to recalibrate, to awaken, and to strengthen its own response. It is the plant of indomitable vitality, the remedy to feel the strength of the earth flowing through our veins again. Mallow, Malva sylvestris, the internal caress. If plantain is the bandage that protects our skin from the aggressions of the outside world, mallow is the caress that heals our internal mucous membranes. In a body that is often on fire due to inflammation, stress, and an acidic diet, mallow acts as the natural extinguisher. Its secret lies in its extremely high concentration of mucilage, plant fibers that upon contact with water form a viscous and protective gel. This action is not chemical in an aggressive sense, but mechanical and deeply compassionate. Mallow coats irritated throats from coughing, stomach walls injured by gastritis, and inflamed intestines, creating a physical barrier that allows the underlying tissue to stop being attacked and begin its self-healing process. It is the necessary softness in a rigid world. Drinking mallow gives a breather to the digestive and respiratory systems, reminding ourselves that healing does not always require struggle, but sometimes only needs the right environment of calm and protection to occur. Calendula, Calendula officinalis, the sun catcher. Calendula is not just a splash of color in a garden, it is, in biochemical terms, condensed sunlight transformed into healing resin. Its petals, in a vibrant orange that seems to retain the heat of midday, harbor an astonishing concentration of tritopanoids, flavonoids, and carotenoids. This triad makes it the biological antithesis of tissue damage. However, what truly makes it unknown to most people is not its superficial use as a balm, but its sophisticated ability for angiogenesis. While other remedies are limited to disinfecting, calendula acts as an architect of infrastructure. It has the ability to force the body to generate new blood vessels in areas where irrigation has been cut off by trauma or burns. This makes it indispensable for treating old scars, keloids, or wounds that seem to have stagnated in time. By applying calendula, you are sending a chemical signal that says, "Rebuild here." It is the medicine of regeneration, both aesthetic and functional, ensuring that the healing process is harmonious and that the body does not retain the trauma of the injury in the form of rigid marks. It is the promise that the skin can become an immaculate canvas again. White horehound, Marubium vulgar, the cleanser of breaths. In our industrial era, where the air we inhale is often an invisible cocktail of particles, heavy metals, and allergens, white horehound emerges as the strategic ally of the lungs. It is a plant that does not deceive. Its flavor is of an intense and persistent bitterness, the unmistakable signature of its therapeutic power. It contains marubin, a diterpene lactone that has an almost magnetic affinity with the bronchial mucosa. Its function in the body is of enviable mechanical efficacy. It acts by liquefying the dense and adherent secretions that block the alveoli, facilitating their expulsion through productive and liberating coughing. Horehound is the plant for those who feel that their chest has become a narrow cage, for those who breathe but do not oxygenate. Historically, it was salvation in times when severe lung conditions were death sentences, reminding us that breathing is our first and most fundamental act of freedom. Horehound not only cleans the airways, it restores the sacred rhythm of gas exchange, allowing life to fully enter with each breath. Or horsetail, Equisetum arvens. The silica fossil horsetail is a time traveler. It is a botanical relic that has survived since the age of dinosaurs, and its morphology proves it. It has no flowers, seeds, or conventional leaves. It reproduces by spores, maintaining the design of a primordial world. Its medicine is not primarily organic or chemical, but mineral. It is the largest plant source of organic silica on the planet, an element that the modern body, fed with depleted soils, desperately longs for. Silica is the biological glue that holds our existence together. It is the mineral responsible for maintaining the integrity of collagen, the hardness of bones, and the elasticity of connective tissue and lungs. Drinking an infusion of horsetail, properly decocted to extract its minerals, is literally remineralizing the body from its most intimate structure. It is the ultimate remedy for fragility, for bones that begin to become porous, for hair that has lost its soul, and for nails that break at the slightest touch. It is the strength of ancient earth transferred to our skeleton, reminding us that to be healthy we must first be structurally solid. Mullein verbascum thapsus, the velvet of the chest. Mullein is a plant that imposes its presence on the landscape, rising like a tower of yellow flowers protected by leaves that resemble felt or thick velvet. That texture is not an aesthetic whim, it is the visual representation of its demulcent function. What those leaves feel to the touch is exactly what the plant does for your internal mucous membranes, wrapping them in a layer of protection and calm. Rich in saponins and mucilage, mullein is the master in managing irritation. It is the sovereign remedy for dry cough, the dog-like and unproductive cough that irritates the throat and prevents nighttime rest. Its action soothes the nerves of the respiratory system, allowing inflammation to subside. But its wisdom extends to unexpected places. The flowers macerated in olive oil are the most potent and effective remedy known in ethnobotany for ear infections and pains. A single drop of this fairy oil can stop a stabbing pain in minutes, often surpassing conventional analgesics. Mullein is the gentle hand that calms the fire where there is friction and pain. Wild valerian, Valeriana officinalis, the anchor of chaos. We must move away from the image of valerian as just a simple pharmacy pill with an unpleasant smell. The root of wild valerian, when harvested and prepared with respect, is one of the most powerful tools for neurological modulation that botany offers us. Its active principle, valerianic acid, has a specific ability to bind to the GABA receptors in the brain, the same ones that manage calm and inhibit stress. Unlike anxiolytic drugs, valerian does not knock out the individual. What it does is silence the electrical noise of the sympathetic nervous system, the one that keeps us in a perpetual state of fight or flight. It is the necessary anchor for someone suffering from post-traumatic stress, paralyzing anxiety, or that insomnia where the body is exhausted but the nerves are vibrating. By consuming it, you are giving your biology the permission it needs to understand that the danger has passed. This allows the parasympathetic system to take charge, initiating the processes of cellular repair and psychic restoration that only occur during deep, restorative sleep. It is the return to peace in the midst of the storm. Shepherd's purse, Capsella bursa pastoris, the emergency hemostatic. Shepherd's purse is a lesson in botanical humility. It is a small, inconspicuous plant that grows close to the ground, and its fruits have the unmistakable shape of tiny hearts, or, as its name suggests, the ancient pouches used by shepherds. Despite its fragile appearance, it is one of the most powerful tools for managing blood crises. Its name is not coincidental. It represents the ability to hold and contain life when it threatens to escape. Its chemistry is a specific response to urgency. It contains peptides with local hypertensive action and flavonoids that give it rapid hemostatic capacity. It is the go-to remedy in ethnobotany for the female reproductive system, acting where conventional medicine often offers only synthetic hormones. Shepherd's purse has a selective affinity for the smooth muscles of the uterus. In cases of postpartum hemorrhage or menstrual cycles so heavy that they deplete a woman's vitality and iron, this plant intervenes by tonifying the tissue and intelligently reducing the flow. It not only stops the bleeding but restores the integrity of the organ, allowing the body to regain its energetic center without the harshness of isolated chemistry. Mugwort, Artemisia abrotanum, the shield of immunity. A close relative of the legendary wormwood, mugwort is a citrus jewel that seems to have been designed for absolute protection. In ancient times, it was planted near house entrances under the name of the guardian of health, believing that its aroma kept diseases away. Today, science validates that intuition. Its high concentration of essential oils, especially thujone and bitter compounds, creates a hostile environment for parasites, bacteria, and opportunistic fungi. However, its true mastery lies in its ability to act as a stimulant for basal metabolism. Mugwort is the plant of convalescence and resilience. Fumitory, Fumaria officinalis, the alchemy of the liver and skin. Fumitory is a plant of ethereal beauty. Its flowers look like wisps of pink smoke emerging from the ground. But behind that vaporous appearance lies an unyielding blood purifier. Its use follows a fundamental alchemical principle that modern dermatology often ignores. The skin is the mirror of the liver. If the body's main filter is saturated, waste will seek exit through the largest organ, the skin. Fumitory contains an alkaloid called fumarine, which has the unique ability to modulate bile production in an amphoteric manner, increasing it if it is low, slowing it down if it is excessive. It is the definitive treatment for psoriasis, eczema, and chronic acne, which are nothing more than the cries for help from a system saturated with toxins that cannot be filtered. By acting on the liver and kidneys simultaneously, fumitory cleanses the river of blood, allowing the skin to regain its original clarity and softness. It is the biological filter that allows for deep renewal, eliminating what we do not need so that our inner light can shine through healthy skin. Guaco, Mecania glomerata, the bronchodilator of the jungle. Coming from the depths of American ethnobotany, guaco is one of the most powerful vines that nature has created for respiratory survival. Its importance lies in its high concentration of coumarins, molecules that possess an immediate and potent bronchodilating action. In a world where asthma and obstructive allergies are increasingly common, guaco offers a jungle-derived alternative that relaxes the bronchial muscles almost instantly, but guaco is a plant of connections. In addition to opening the lungs, it has significant anti-rheumatic and analgesic properties. This duality reminds us of a profound medical truth. Angelica, Angelica archangelica, the root of the spirit. We conclude this journey with the queen of the umbellifers, the plant that, according to legend, was revealed by an archangel to cure the plague. Angelica is imposing, a tower of life that reaches 2 meters in height, and its medicine is as vast as its stature. Its root is a general tonic for the human organism, acting as a catalyst for energy in all systems. Angelica is the plant of circulation and warmth. It is the remedy for those who suffer from chronic cold, both in the extremities and in mood. It warms the blood and increases peripheral microcirculation. It improves digestion, strengthens the lungs, and calms the nervous system. But its true value is intangible. In traditional herbalism, it is considered the plant of longevity and courage. It is said that its use strengthens the will and spirit of those who have lost the desire to fight. It is the perfect closure for this compendium, a medicine that does not merely repair tissues but elevates the vital frequency of the human being, reminding us that health is not just the absence of disease, but the vibrant presence of life in our entire being. This journey through these 20 green treasures has not been a simple lesson in botany. It has been an invitation to regain sight. Each of these plants has been on the earth long before our civilization and will remain here long after we are gone. The true value of what you have just seen does not lie in scientific data or Latin names, but in the ability to awaken in you the certainty that reality is much richer, deeper, and kinder than the industrial system has allowed us to believe. Possessing this knowledge is, in essence, the first step toward true freedom and autonomy over your own well-being. The next time you walk through your garden or along a forgotten path and see one of these so-called weeds, do not reach for a herbicide. Seek the curiosity of a student, the warmth of a cup of water, and the respect owed to an ancestor who has come silently to heal you. Now that you know that the most powerful pharmacy in the world grows freely beneath your feet, which of these plants will be the first you seek on your next walk to regain your connection with the earth? If you feel this knowledge should return to everyone's hands, subscribe and share this video. Help us ensure that the wisdom of the earth does not fade into silence.